Hello, this is a current copy of my JuliesP2GoSetup app for some of my students, and quite often I'm asked how I set it up to make it look the way it does because it looks so different from the standard JuliesP2Go. So I'm going to show you how to do that and the settings that I personally use, and you can then use that to personalize your own. You don't have to use them all, but I'll show you how I set up a new user for JuliesP2Go. It's been pretty successful with my students. First I start with options and scroll to the and go to user and add user. It's going to take us through a series of questions. So you're going to give it a name. I'm going to call it Julie2. And then it asks us questions. So United States, next. Pick a voice.
Hi, I'm Tracy.
You can listen to those voices and choose the one that you want. Typically it's Crescendo that we use. Gateway isn't available unless it's an in-app purchase, and I never pick empty because then you have to put everything you want to into your JuliesP2Go. So we go with Crescendo. And Intermediate Core gives you a lot of language, and then you can hide some things later, which is best for students unless they're very, very early communicators. So Intermediate Core, and again, you can choose whatever level you feel is appropriate. But now it says turn your device to the preferred orientation. However, whichever direction the student is going to use it, whether it's portrait or whether it's landscape, you turn it that way, and then it will give you the setups that are available for that orientation. So I'm going to have it in landscape, which it is. Next. And now it's asking what grid size you want. Now there's 77 buttons. I'm going to go down to 45. You want to use as many buttons as a student can handle, even if the size that they can handle. You can hide a bunch of pictures, but it's good to have a size that they can handle so they have room to grow with their language. Okay, next. If your student speaks a second language, I believe it is Spanish, French, or Dutch, you can add an additional language, or you can import preferences. This is just setting up a blank user, so I'm just going to skip that. And now it says, welcome Julie2. Finish. Now this is what the standard JuliesP2Go looks like. It has colored borders with JuliesP2Go's color scheme, and gray background, white buttons. And you have your message bar and your toolbars. Okay, so some of the things that I do to change things, I make this smaller. I make the toolbars larger so they're easier for the students to access. And then I color code and color the background to make it pop a little bit and to make the words really stand out, according to the Fitzgerald key, which is an old school color coding scheme. So the first thing I do is change the size of the toolbars. So you go into options and choose appearance because we're going to change the way it looks. Message window size, change from normal to very small. Then go down to toolbar size and change that from small to medium. See, that made those tools bigger. Okay, you can go any of those sizes. And then we're going to go into view. You have to kind of look at the little gray areas, but view and advanced options. And it's asking about the background color. I typically choose a dark color that the child likes. So if they like blue, I choose the darkest blue. If they're girly and like purple, I choose the darkest purple or the darkest pink, so that they can still have a color that they like, but it's actually going to make the pictures really stand out. So I changed that background color. And the last thing I change is button spacing sometimes. If the child needs the pictures to be spread out a little bit, you can change button spacing too, from very compact to compact, and it spreads them out a little and the pictures are still big enough. And then you can go to very loose and they become pretty far apart. So I like compact to start with. All right, and then you come out of this first. Take a look. This is what it looks like. It still has the JuliesP2Go color coding scheme. So we're going to change that and color code the backgrounds of the pictures using the Fitzgerald Color Coding Scheme. So again, go to options. We're changing the way it looks. So that's appearance. I'm going to go to scroll down to color coding scheme and change that from modified Fitzgerald to Fitzgerald. You'll see the colors of the borders change. Now back. below that color coding scheme is background color. We're going to tap on that, change color code to all, from fringe to all. That color codes all pictures. Then go back, and the color intensity of the backgrounds is going to be light. You could use light or pale, it really makes them stick out. So light or pale, I usually go with light. And then go back again. And then one last thing I change on this is going down, still under buttons, under advanced options. It asks what you want to do with the folders. They're gray right now. I want them to change to white. So we're going to turn off the same as regular. And then go back to the beginning of options. And that's how it's set up. So this is color coding with the Fitzgerald key, color coding system, and with the background color too, so it kind of pops. Now if this is too many words for your student, you can also use, you can hide a lot of them at once by going into options and using under vocabulary, progressive language. If you turn it on, you can choose what step of progressive language you want to go to. So if your student is a very beginning communicator, you can go to step 1 and it hides most of the core language and keeps all the categories. Then as you go up in steps, it gradually adds in core language. So you can add that in. Finally, it's the final step of that area, or that user area. It'll add in all of the core words. So if you want to start at step 1 or step 2, that cuts out a lot of visual clutter, and your student can really wrap their heads around what's actually there, and it's easier for your staff to model. So I typically start with 1 or 2. And that's my typical setup for a student who is just beginning on Prolo2Go. Don't forget to model like crazy so that they know what language you're trying to teach them to speak. So that's it. If you have any questions, go to www.mciu.org or assistiveware.com. And there is also in the app under options, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, support and support videos. They're fantastic. So they have their support videos. It takes you right to Prolo2Go's website, and they have a lot of videos that show you what to do and how to use Prolo2Go. Thank you. Bye.